Hi everyone, my name is Amrita. Welcome to Off Opinions. And I'm already at a loss of words. Well, it is weird to be making a podcast during April in India without any fans on, with the door and the windows, everything closed to have the cleanest sound possible. I'm really working hard here. I'm really exerting myself, perhaps torturing myself while I'm doing this, mainly because I cannot work in an air-conditioned room right now without distraction. And so this might not be the sort of glorious material you expected out of a podcast from me. I have done everything, all the giggling and the ahs and the arms and more giggling and basically everything that I thought I would do wrongly I have already done in the first 1.5 minutes. So it can only get better from now. Even though I'm completely unprepared, I haven't made any notes, I have made nothing. And the reason that I have not is not because I'm lazy. I'm doing this without any sort of it's so boring to talk about the weather, isn't it? Even when it is a relevant topic, it's so boring to talk about the weather unless you are a meteorologist, right? They're the weather people. So unless you are a meteorologist, and even then when you're talking to a meteorologist and you both know what you're talking about, only then can it, I hope, be interesting. Which is weird because isn't it like the oldest topic? I mean, even older than the difference between men and women, or between old people and children, or even such universal topics. Even more than that, is it not the weather? Is it not just the environment, not just nature, not just what we are surrounded by, not the stuff that we made, but the stuff that was already there, which we are now messing up to various degrees by the things we make. But this is not going to be one of those sort of green, what do you call it, green power, green whatever. It's not going to be one of those. We are never political, wow, we are never political in my blog. We are not. And I don't know, does that we sound like a royal we? It's just, I'm trying to dissociate from myself as much as I can while I'm doing this, because it's very hard to inhabit all these roles. I know that's not anything new to you, and you would say I'm complaining too much, because that is what people who make blogs do. They write, they produce, they edit, they direct, they come up with the creative, they come up with the content, with the ideas, and they promote it, and they do all of this without getting any money, without having very limited resources, often spending their time and money and other resources and a time that could have been spent doing anything else, for work or for pleasure, whatever. But you are making this thing that it just goes on growing. You know, it's not like writing a book or making an album or making a film where there is something finite about it. With the blog, it just evolves and continues like a soap opera. like one of those television soaps which never seem to stop, and which just get stretched beyond any plausibility, and which have this really awful people as characters, and we're supposed to believe that all that is real. But anyway, in case there are any soap writers listening to this, or any people who work in soaps listening to this, I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you. Or perhaps I have offended bloggers instead by saying that a blog is like a television soap. It's not. I'm sure you write very wonderful, or you make not right. It's not just about writers, is it? It's about all sorts of creative people, or just people who are interested in various things. There are blogs on technology that I don't understand and I don't follow, but they're the majority, I think, of the literature that you find on the internet as a whole. I think most of it is about technology. But so you can see that my first podcast has a lot of rambling involved, but that is mainly because I don't want to do it in the way I do my essays, and just that I have lifelong experience with writing essays and not a single experience with making a podcast or any sort of a radio situation or whatever. I have called in to radios, but I have never even tried to audition or anything for anything audio related. But I do talk a lot, as you can probably tell by now, and some of you might even be sort of not sure about this, and you'd be saying that, why don't you just stick to the essay writing? Those are long enough. Why go on and on with many human interruptions, speech interruptions, like stuttering, like giggling, and like self-consciousness, and just being very nervous and very, very hot at the same time. Not hot in an attractive sense, but just hot. But I suppose the reason is that you have to try, you have to make something for the first time, and then do it many, many times again until you get good at it. And the only way you can get good at it is if you get some feedback on it. And while I have had a lot of feedback on my talking, and not all of them very positive, which is okay, it's fine, I get it, but I'm not going to. I mean, it's not something that I can help anymore. If it does change ever, if I do start talking less, then that would probably be something that is natural, that is organic. I can't work at it. I'm sorry. I'm old enough to know that I can't work at it. I have tried, but I can't. If I don't communicate in some way, I turn into a rock. I don't go mad necessarily, because when I go mad, then I talk even more. But I just become uber still, and anyway, so you get the idea. See, this is what happened with all my previous demos for my podcast. I've been thinking about this. I've been the concept of having a podcast has been going around in my mind for over a year now, and it's not my fault. Basically, I read in a blog post last year, at the beginning of 2015, that things you can do differently with your blog to make it different, interesting, make it evolve, make it something new, something fun. And I get bored easily, so I thought that, okay, what is it? What are the new things that you can do? And one of them was make a podcast. And I thought, wow, that's a great idea. I can just do what I do, but instead of taking the trouble, the pleasure versus the trouble of writing things down, I can just talk about them. And then I made several demos like this, one worse than the other, and this is also in the bottom of the pile. But anyway, I think it will make it onto YouTube, and you can torment me about it later on. Maybe 5 years later, you can embarrass me with it, in case I'm still around and this podcast is still around. So they were all such messes, and perhaps that was the reason why I gave up on the idea for quite a while. And then it was really the poetry. It was really reading a lot of poetry that made me want to maybe try do this again. But I hope the talking will improve with more practice and more feedback, and I hope this wasn't too much of a... Yeah, I know I do make most of you work very hard, especially, the number of you who come back to my essays anyway. I know I make you work hard with all the long-winded sentences and the huge paragraphs and the lack of any visual interest or distraction. I know I make you work hard, and perhaps this podcast has made you work harder than the other days, because the other days they're just 5 minutes, and now it's over 10 minutes of listening to me. So I apologize that this first podcast was a very haphazard mess, but I do hope that it will get better in future when I have more focused ideas. But in a way, I just needed to get this out, to get this, why am I doing this, sort of a question out. So the only reason why I'm doing it is because this idea was planted in my head almost 1.5 years ago. Whatever. It was planted in my head, and it's been in my head, and it has been bothering me for a very long time. So until I find out I'm really bad at it, or what would be the other scenario, the eternal optimist in me would say that, okay, next time it will be better, and you'll be inundated with a million podcasts by then. Maybe not a million. The eternal optimist is balanced by the lazy perfectionist who never finishes things. But anyway, that's almost 12 minutes, and I really should go now. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I hope that the next few podcasts will be more interesting and efficient, and will have much more food for thought. So thank you, and goodbye.